Hello, is everybody able to hear?
Hey, Kristen, my mic is now enabled.
There we go, working on it.
Still can't turn my camera on.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm going to leave my camera off because I am sitting in a tent and it will likely not be good for anyone. I'm a mess, but I'm watching and listening. So
Fair enough. Okay, well, let's see. We can give people maybe another minute, but we do have our forum, so. Did you hear from anyone else, Kristen?
Yeah, Xenia was trying to join us. I resent him the link, but I don't know if he's having trouble or not. But
I just figured it out again.
excellent. Jason, you're enabled as well. Yes. Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Excellent. Okay, I'll keep an eye out for Xenia if he pops up and make sure he gets in with access.
Yeah, so we've got a quorum, so let's go ahead and get started. So welcome, everyone. So first off, so welcome to the May 21st Town of Gray Planning Board meeting. Looks like it's just Kristen, 3 board members, and Jason. I don't see anyone from the public. They would show up here.
Will should be joining.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and get started. So first order of business is roll call. David.
Here.
Melinda.
here.
And I am Dan Cobb, also present. And we may see Jenya, and I don't know about Charlie, so they'll be either late or absent. All right. Let's see, approval of minutes. So we have the April 9th Planning Board minutes. Is there a motion to accept as written or any corrections that we need?
I'll make a motion to accept them as written.
I second.
All right. Any discussion? All in
Nope.
favor?
In favor.
That's 1, 2, and a verbal from Melinda, so that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, next up is information exchange. Does anybody have any information that they wish to exchange with the board or among the board? Okay, don't see any information to exchange, so we'll keep moving. All right, so we have one item of new business, and it's a public hearing. And this is for Loon Island LLC Portland Road Site Plan Amendment. This is a request by Loon Island LLC, represented by DM Roma Engineers, for planning board review of a proposal to amend the site plan for the 35.6 plus or minus acre lot at tax map 043, lot 404-176-000 in the commercial and RRA zoning districts and the shoreland zoning districts of limited commercial and resource protection. This is an amendment to a 2023 site plan conditional approval for 45 Portland Road, map 43, lot 404-176-001, which is to be merged into lot 000, and is an expansion of the existing retail trade use. The proposal is subject to site plan amendment, major site plan, and conditional use reviews, and to MDEP preservation area restrictions and the shoreland zoning standards. So I think, Jason, you're the agent and have a presentation for us. Is that the case?
That's the case. Yep.
All right, welcome. So
Kristen, would you like me to share the screen? Maybe a little bit more
Yes, yeah.
informational.
Yep, that would be ideal.
Let's see. Looks like I'm disabled, but I'm sure you're doing that right now.
All right, I can get to that. Make a presenter probably.
I guess while we're working that, I see Jenya joined. So Jenya, can you hear us and are you there?
Yeah, he should have mic and camera.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Just yeah.
So yeah, well, Kristen, we'll add Jenya to the attendee list once we hear from him and confirm he's with us. But go ahead, Jason.
Good evening, Jason Haskell with DM Roma Engineers. Here with me is Will Boyle, the applicant with Loon Island and Outpost Outfitters. So, as long as you can see the plan, this is the lot off of Portland Road, right across from Turnpike Acres Road. It's 35 acres, as you said. The old TM Up driving range. Since the TM Up driving range has closed down, the site has been reutilized by, it was an insurance company back in 2019, which received its own site plan approval. And then since then they left, and in 23, we got the approval through staff review for the reuse of the property as modular sales with American Modular. As part of that, it was more of an update to the plan, and also the modular units being placed on the property. So currently, well, actually previously, the site was made up of 2 parcels. They have since been combined by Mr. Boyle. So that part of it has been cleared up. So now it's all one 35-acre parcel, which helps with some of the setback issues that may have arise from the location of the modular buildings. So this will be an expansion of the retail use from the smaller property that was out front to the overall larger parcel that the driving range was on. So what we're looking to do is construct an expansion of the existing parking lot with a gravel RV display lot, kind of that'll be accessory to the existing modular use of the modular sales facility. So this was generally where around the perimeter, and then on the center is where the RVs are going to be stored. We're also proposing an office and storage building to be used for both American Modular and for the RV dealership, which is being called out as Outpost Outfitters. The building, let's see here. The building, we're along the backside of the display area. We're going to be putting in a 2,832 square foot building. The about 2,400 of that will be the garage storage space. And then off to the side is going to be a small office and bathroom for both facilities. It's generally sized for 65 total RVs. That's general, just based off of some approximate sizes of the RVs. As Will has said in a previous plan board meeting, that this is going to be an initial phase of a much larger, or a larger project, a little bit more formalized in the future. But this is kind of the first phase of what will be something a little bit larger than this. The new building will be served by private well and private septic. Based on the existing and the proposed buildings, the number of parking spaces that are currently on the property are sufficient to meet the zoning standards. So the plan is for customers, both for American Modular and for the RV dealership, to use those parking spaces out front. Then the customers will come in to the building, which will be more for the face-to-face contact with the customers. So the customers will come in, work with a representative, and then the representative will go out, walk them out to the display area. It's not intended to be just some kind of a drive-through area that someone off the road can just pull in and circulate. So that's kind of hopefully clarifies kind of the use of the property. The new office and storage building, as I said, the storage itself would be for American Modular and for the RV dealership. The office itself will probably be just for logistics, purchases from outside sales, and kind of non-face-to-face interaction with customers. So none of the customers would really be entering the site and going directly to that building. As I believe the memo was showing, in the past, there's been discussions about moving the driveway up in line with Turnpike Acres Road. We do intend to do that in the future when we do expand this facility. Right now, we are proposing to utilize the existing driveway. We have been working with the fire department on their finding that existing access spot adequate for being able to maneuver vehicles in and out. We did widen the connection between the paved section of the existing parking and the gravel display area from 20 feet to 24 feet to allow for a little bit easier access for emergency vehicles coming in and out. Other than that, we've talked with the fire chief about how they would maneuver around the loop, if you will. It will require the fire truck to stop once, back up, and then turn. It wouldn't be a significant problem for them to get around. Just that would be the one extra maneuver they would have to do to get around the corners. In addition to the landscaping that's currently around the modular building, the modular buildings and the sales building, we are proposing to screen the existing facility, the proposed office and storage building, both by a new evergreen tree on either side of the building. And then there's also going to be a tree save around it, primarily where the wetlands are. So that the building should be fairly well screened from the public way. And then we're also proposing additional trees to kind of enhance the landscape a little bit more, with a couple more of the evergreen trees on the other side of the parking lot. I guess I can do one of two things. I can move into the waiver request, or are you also going to be looking to go over the conditional use narrative? I'm not sure how you've typically done this in the past, if you want me to touch on every one of those.
So sure. Why don't you feel free to give your whole narrative, including the waivers that you'd like to request and the conditional use. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
But so go ahead and cover that. And then as far as when you get to potentially the consulting engineer's comments or town staff comments, we'll use what's in the memo to kind of go through that point by point, just to keep track of where we're at. So if you can try, if you can try not to like freewheel on the comments because I want to keep track of it one by one.
For sure. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So we're looking at obviously some waivers. There may be some clarification on one of the waivers that was recommended in the memo. There was one listed about the lighting in the development and if it needs to be turned off at night. I can definitely understand that if it was used for display or for, you know, customer parking, something along those lines, that I would definitely say that would be important. But since what's going to be out there is going to be a good amount of inventory, a lot of money sitting out in a gravel parking lot, what we're looking for is for these lights to be security lights. These lights are being proposed to stay on all night. They are cutoffs directing down. Since they're going to be strictly for security lights, that seems to meet the standard because that was one of the caveats in the standard that if it was for a use other than for security, then yes, we would be requesting a waiver. Hopefully we can avoid needing to do that since they are going to be strictly for security. We are requesting a waiver of the landscaping and the landscaped islands, section 402.10.13I. So the proposed gravel expansion area is designed to be visual, seen from the road, from the public way. We're trying not to hide the RVs themselves, that they're kind of the reason for the facility. We did show some screening to screen the building, mostly because that's not something that needs to be seen from the street. And hopefully the additional screening trees that we put out there would be sufficient for the use that's going to be out there and the location. We're also looking at not providing the landscape islands, as the display area is gravel. Putting these islands in the middle of a gravel lot seems like they would either be run over, or they would not be very well contained, especially with gravel coming from one side and then any type of loam going on the other side of the gravel. So we're trying to avoid that, and we're trying to avoid putting in curbing because it's a gravel lot. It's not typical to put any curbing on gravel. And also to understand that with this future expansion, there's going to be several more opportunities to increase the amount of landscaping, primarily along the new driveway. We'll be looking at putting some street trees along the way. And then the way the building is going to be designed, there's plenty of landscape islands around it. So hopefully in the future, we can really supplement to offset this waiver. There's the other one was 402.10.11B3, access width of a commercial entrance. I don't know, this may not have been one that Kristen had on her list, but I believe this was one that we need to talk about at least. The standard requires two-way commercial entrances to have a width of 24 feet. And then also at the street, having a width of 5 feet wider at the curb line, so 29 feet, extending at least 20 feet into the site. So at the existing driveway entrance, we have 37 feet. So significantly more than what's required. So it should be easier to turn in and out of the facility. But what it does is it does narrow down to 23 feet as you go into the site. Because it's just an initial phase of this, that we're going to be rebuilding the other one across from Turnpike Acres Road. We've also talked with the fire department, and they didn't seem to have any issues with the existing entrance out there. And not to mention, they drop off modular buildings at this facility as well. So it definitely is large enough to be able to move some fairly large trucks through here. And then in the submission, we did include some turning movement templates showing that a 40-foot long fire truck can make its way in without any issues. So as you know, this is a conditional use as the retail trade in the commercial district is. Will it be compatible with the general character of the neighborhood with regard to design, scale, and bulk of proposed structures? This area of Portland Road does not seem to have a cohesive character due to the different allowed uses. The building will be generally the same size as the gas station across the street and the existing building that's already on the facility. It'll have overhead doors like the building across the way from Turnpike Acres Road. The building will also have vinyl clapboard siding, and it will be similar to the existing modular units that are already out there. And then some of the other buildings out there are more utility based. Will not have significant detrimental effect on the use, peaceful enjoyment of a budding property as a result of noise, vibrations, fumes, odor, dust, light, or glare. We don't anticipate the proposed development and expansion to cause any significant detrimental effect on the surrounding properties. The expanded sales for RVs should create less noise, vibrations, fumes, or odors than the surrounding commercial properties, including a shopping center, the maintenance building, gas station, and unmanned bulk storage of propane. The gravel parking lot may generate some dust during the dry months of the summer when vehicles do go through the lot, but the majority of the customers will utilize the paved parking lot and not enter the gravel area. It will be more for employees moving around in that area. If it does get significant, then there's the opportunity to spray it down to reduce some of that dust. The new building will not cause any light or glare as the roof and siding are not proposed to be metallic, and the new light fixtures will be located on the building and dark sky compliant. Will not have a significant adverse effects on adjacent or nearby property values. Since the surrounding area is generally retail and or utility services related, we do not anticipate the existing modular home retail sales to expand into RVs to be detrimental to the nearby property values. Will not result in significant hazards to pedestrian or vehicular traffic or significant traffic congestion. We don't see that there's going to be any transportation hazards in this area. As a result of the use, the proposed development will only include sales of modular homes and RVs. These facilities are not typically high traffic generators when compared to the typical retail shop or supermarket that the higher traffic volumes would come from. It'll have significantly less traffic generation than the gas station across the street. The proposed retail use will not result in significant fire damage. This facility will be for the sale of modular homes and RVs, which are not typically considered hazardous sale items, and will not result in significant flood hazards or flood damage, drainage problems, ground or surface water contamination, or soil erosion. The runoff generated by this project does have a stormwater design prepared. The plan is for all the runoff from this new development to be conveyed through drainage swales on either side of the gravel, directed to a stormwater sized level lip spreader, which will be located generally down in this area. This area right here will be kind of maintained as meadow. So this will spread all the channelized flow that are coming from the parking lot into the wetland through a 50 or 60 foot deep meadow buffer to promote some infiltration and cleaning of the water before it gets into the wetlands. Let's see here. The project has been and being reviewed by the town related to the stormwater treatment and flooding control standards. and shouldn't have a significant impact on the surrounding properties, as the drainage from this site drains to the south of the site, which is a long stretch of CMP corridor, which is one large wetland. Then the last one is will be served adequately by, but not overburden existing public services and facilities, including fire protection services, roads, water, and storm drainage systems. The new building will utilize private on-site water and sewer services, avoiding the burden on the public utilities. All new runoff will be directed away from the public roadway, reducing any burden on the public stormwater infrastructure. The site is accessed from an existing driveway, not requiring an additional curb cut along the public right-of-way. And we don't anticipate for any additional fire protection services any more than any other commercial facility, probably even less than a typical one. Definitely less than probably what's over at the propane storage facility. I believe that was all of them. So Will and I are here to answer any questions.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any initial questions from the board? I'll start with David.
Yeah, I got one. The fire truck you said was gonna be able to drive down there. If you got that waiver, will it be able to
Correct.
will it be able to turn around when it gets down there?
So it can make so it can turn into the property. It can come through here and make this turn. But once it gets to here, it'll stop, back up, and then be able to make its way around, stop, back up, and then make its way around. So it'd be 2 stops that would have to happen. My understanding is most of the fire truck, until the fire, any type of fire is out, they're probably not going to go out and around this as it is. It's going to be more of a after the fact exiting. But that's kind of what we've been working with the fire chief on. And
Okay, so the fire chief is okay with that?
correct. Will went and sat down with him for an hour or so and kind of worked out some of the details on how things would be organized.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Good. Thanks, David. Melinda?
I have a question about the future Turnpike Acres Road access. As I'm looking at the plan, it looks like there's a kind of a building directly in front of Turnpike Acres and wetlands. What I understand, you're not proposing that right now, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, in the future, when we move forward, there is going to be some wetland impacts. It's unfortunate that those wetlands are right in the way of where everyone wants the road to be. But obviously we'll do the permitting that needs to be done with that. And those are modular homes. They're fairly routinely moved. Not on this facility, but they can be moved pretty easily.
Okay. All right. I understand. Okay.
So,
I'm looking at the plan going like, ooh, okay. And you did a good job of explaining the need for the waiver on the landscaping. I can imagine how the gravel would be difficult to landscape islands in. When you expand in the future, is that parking inventory area going to continue to be gravel?
No, it'll be definitely a more formalized project. All of it will be paved. There'll be, it'll look like, a lot of, other dealerships where it'll be paved, probably with curbing, just looking at what I'd need to do for drainage. But yes, it will not be gravel in the future. This will be just the initial phase as they want to ensure sales are where they should be before moving forward to the much larger building and much larger display area.
Okay. And then I have another question about your landscaping. I am seeing a few, I understand that you don't want to block a view of the RVs. It's your inventory. I get that. But landscaping to make the overall site look more attractive than it currently looks would still be a prudent thing to do, I think. And we at the planning board, I'm especially particular about that. I see that you've added a couple over in the office and the garage area. And then I think there's two proposed additional on the far end of the RV park, but I'm just two trees. I don't know. That just doesn't seem like a lot. And if it's just on the sides, then you would just be making your site more attractive. In general, that area looks kind of not the best. It looks like an old golf tee, I guess, because that's what it is. But I'd be curious what other planning board members think, but more highlighting landscaping would help me a lot. I do understand that doesn't make sense to have landscape islands and landscaping in between the RVs. That would be difficult, but on the sides of the development, it seems like that could be done there. That's
Yeah, we
what I have.
definitely looked at putting some landscaping through here, but obviously the building's in the way, so you wouldn't see the landscaping from the public way. And the same thing with this building is kind of in the way. And then there's trees right in through here. So for the landscaping to be effective, we'd have to get creative on where that would actually go.
Yeah, you can't, I'm pointing at my phone like you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm looking at there's, I believe, two trees on the far end of the gravel. Is that what that says there?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So, and trees grow and get bigger. So, and this is wetland, so it's low. So those trees, if you added more trees, I'm not talking shrubs and low growing stuff, because you're right, it would be all blocked by this. But that's what I'm noticing is you've got two little lonely trees out there, and it feels like that is not quite enough. So, but I'm one member of the planning board. So
Hi, Will Boyle here. So what you're not seeing is the new road coming in directly across from Turnpike Acres has robust landscaping on the sides of it. So
Okay.
this is just the phase one. So when the current entranceway is taken out and we put that new road in, you will see that there's I don't know how many trees were on the side there, Jay. It was pretty significant, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
All
we
the way
had
in on the side of the road. So this is why you're not seeing a robust landscape plan right now, because if we put a bunch of trees in, we might have to take them out in a few months.
yeah, that's not the area that I was thinking of. I'm looking at the end of the RV gravel lot. That's well away from where Turnpike Acres is. I think that's not going to be disturbed with your second phase. And I understand that you're proposing another phase, but we don't know if that will ever come to pass. You plan for it, you hope for it, but this is our opportunity to make this development compliant and appropriate for what is good for the town. So again, I'm curious to hear what other members of the planning board think, but it just seems like one little tree on each corner of that gravel lot is not quite enough for me.
That's a meadow too, so we would have to plant like weeping willows in order for them to survive.
Willows are lovely.
Weeping willows?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would want you to plant something that's going to live, not something that won't make
Yeah,
it.
they do not live very well, especially in a wet field. They very susceptible to wind. But in my experience, there's, red maples may survive. But the only tree that would survive in that would be a willow that I know of.
Oh, I like willows. Anyway, I'm only one.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks. Anything else?
I think that's
Melinda?
it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Jenya?
I have no questions. All comments.
Okay, all right, thanks, Jenya. I don't have any questions, but somewhat echo what Melinda's saying. I totally get near the road. There's no point in installing anything that might have to come up. The two that you have, and I also agree, I understand you don't want to, we shouldn't be asking for like shielding of buffering that hides your inventory. I don't think we want to ask for that. But I agree that two spruce trees feels a little lonely. Probably an opportunity to do a bit more to as an enhancement type of feature, not a blocking type of feature, a bit more. That's kind of where I would land on it. And then as far as the parking lot landscaping, trying to put curbing and gravel or anything. If you were coming here saying it was a parking lot, I'd probably be asking for like raised timber beds or something like that that would meet the more closely meet the ordinance. But again, since this is kind of a temporary step, I think it's perfectly reasonable to not be putting them in now. But I think there would be an expectation for a more permanent phase, doing permanent curbing. I think that's when we really would want to more lean into landscaping and things of that nature as opposed to now. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Cobb. So are you saying it's going to, it's more for the facility to have the landscaping viewed rather than from the public way? So the problem will be is the RVs will be stacked in here pretty tightly. So I don't know if anyone would see that, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
So, well, from the public way, you do.
From the public way,
internal.
yes.
I mean, you have
I'm
to.
sorry, you broke up for a second. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just an opportunity to kind of break that sight line up without being a shielding type of thing. I mean, like I said, you've got two trees there. It just feels a little sparse to me. I think you could have more and it would enhance the site, but not block your inventory. So anyways, that's my comment for now. We can talk about it in more detail later when we deliberate. If it's depends whether you're on board with the comments or not, I guess.
Yeah.
Jay,
Will,
how
what are
many
your
more
thoughts on
trees-
that?
Well, let's talk about the next phase after this and nobody's seeing. How many more trees do we have proposed for that?
Oh, there's at least 8 or 9 down the stretch of the
Yeah, so
driveway. And
we
then
have-
obviously you got all the landscaped islands that we're going to be responsible for putting in anyways. So we'll be able to landscape those as well.
So
So
let me ask you this then, are there other phase 2 plantings that are not at risk of having to be removed because of site work that could be done now? Like things down in the area of the inventory, for example.
Anything that we put in now beyond what he has proposed would be stuff that we would have to take out.
Okay.
We could see this next phase.
I'm sorry.
So I agree, 4 trees is very sparse, but we plan on starting phase 2 later this year. So like he said, there's an additional 8 or 9 trees. Plus we have a fairly robust landscape area next to the building.
Yep.
And there's 2 trees there. We'd be happy to put in planting a bed or perennial bed or something like that. So you know, a lot of these RVs are towed behind vehicles, or they're diesel pushers, so they're pretty big. So we gotta keep the landscape off to the sides, not so much like parking lot islands, because people are not going to be able to navigate around those.
Yeah, okay.
So
Here's my thinking on this. I don't think we should be focusing on a lot on temporary stuff, but as Melinda mentioned, not all plans come to be. So I'm thinking, Kristen, if we did some type of like reserve budget, like for planting, should phase two not happen within, you know, whatever, 2 years or something, that there's some type of you know, I'll call it a bond, but whatever. I don't know. It's just a thought, like just to, in case things don't happen, there's some budget and oversight from the code office to put some landscaping infrastructure in to this phase. Is that a feasible thing that you could do and it just solves
I think
this
we
more
could-
easily?
We could work that, if that's what you want to do, we could work that into the waiver language perhaps. Say like
Yeah.
we're waiving the requirement at this time with the requirement of an escrow for X amount to be submitted by applicant and returned upon
So, I don't know.
phase two approval, something like that.
We're kind of jumping a little bit ahead, but I think that would be my proposal, that let's let them build it as they have on the plan here, and then there's some escrow that reserves some additional funding should phase two not happen. What's the board think about that?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I will agree with that.
I think I could get on board with that as well. I am primarily concerned with the area that isn't going to need to be removed if something new happened, but I like the idea. That's a good one, Dan.
Yeah,
can
I'd
we
rather
come up with
go
a dollar
that route.
figure today, please, so that we know whether we want to move ahead? I don't want to leave this up to, you know, something that comes back 2 or 3 weeks later and somebody comes back and says, you got to put $25,000 in reserve.
Yeah, we're getting
So-
there.
You know, we were told that we have to put $5,000 in reserve for $1,500 worth of silt fence.
So we're getting there. The other option is we're gonna do it now. So if I think what
I would
everyone
just
is
like
on
to have a
board with.
dollar figure though, because
We're-
who's this
We're
gonna be
getting
up
there.
to?
Hold on.
Okay,
We're getting there. I just
Okay.
got the board behind what we're doing. That's next. The other option, if you don't want to do it this way, is we can talk about having everything installed now. So, Kristen, you think this is a feasible process?
Yeah, I think it's feasible as a condition. I've seen it done in other projects. If that's something that you and the applicant can work out, I would definitely suggest that we would need to set a figure for sure. That would be
Yeah.
part of the condition itself. Yeah.
Right. So to me, I don't know the
And a
number,
timeline.
but the escrow should cover like the plantings that they're proposing for phase two, which is whatever they showed, like 8 or 9 trees or something to that effect. So basically, it happens at phase two when they want to do it. If phase two doesn't happen, then those plantings get applied to this site plan. That's what I would propose.
Yeah, maybe that's something that, Jason, maybe you have a figure in the construction estimate regarding what landscaping costs. I
So
wouldn't
we'd be
have that.
looking at, you know, 8 or 9 trees. Is that what we're,
Yeah,
probably 6,000 maybe the right number. I want to say that a tree, you know, a sizable tree is probably like $300, $400, and then get it installed. It may be enough for that.
Is the board comfortable with 6,000?
It sounds fine to me.
Sounds
Sounds
good to me.
I mean, the whole point is, and then, you know, this is no extra cost. It's all stuff that you would have done in phase 2.
Do you
I
want to
will
set a
agree.
time?
I will agree with it, but guys, like looking on what's going on around, you don't think that 2 years is too short time?
I don't know. We're getting to that next.
Yeah,
One
that's
thing
what I
at
was
a
going to ask
time.
what your timeline is. Yeah.
So I'll ask the applicants, are you okay with that amount? Does this seem like a reasonable process so far?
I'm not a big fan of putting money in escrow. I have, I think, 6 towns where their money sits in escrow. But you know, it's entirely up to you guys. So,
I mean,
and it's not, you know, you say that you put the money in escrow and it's there to pay for the landscaping, but it's not. I have to pay for the landscaping. And then the money sits in escrow until someone decides that they're going to sign off it and return the money. So whatever it is, if it's $6,000 to put trees in it, it really cost me 12 because I had to give the town 6. So I think that everybody knows with what we've done for development in the town that we do a very good job. And when we say we're going to do something, we do it.
trying to make it easier for you, not harder. So if you don't want to do it, then it's going to end up asking for more trees now. I'm trying to avoid that, but you tell me what your preference is.
I'll have to think about it.
Okay, that's fine. All right, let's move on. So Jason, comments per town's consulting engineer. It looked to me like you guys worked everything or nearly everything out. Is there anything, and I'll ask Kristen the same thing, are there any open items that you're not either not in agreement with or you need board feedback? We don't need to go through it point by point if you've already aligned on it.
So going through them, I think we addressed all of them, but obviously we didn't get a response from the peer review engineer before this meeting. So, Kristen, have you heard anything back, or do you, after you read through this, did you see anything that would be a sticking point?
Right, I did not hear further from Carl Palmer. I think the comment 6, adding the note on the site plan about the management law permit, I think is showing now. Perennial streams
Yep.
called out. I think they were addressed. Yeah, for the most part, but I will double check with them. Obviously it's typically a condition of approval that they all get adhered to anyway, unless there's something that's jumping out at you that is not achievable. But
Not
they
from,
looked-
no.
Yeah, they looked addressed to me.
Okay, great. Any concerns from the board on consulting engineer comments and feedback?
I have none.
Sounds like everyone's good
None.
with
It's all
that.
good with me.
Melinda?
same.
Did you? Okay.
Good.
Yep, we're all good there then. Okay, comments per town staff. Oh, I'll ask the same question of the applicant. Is there anything that you got from the town that is either still open, you don't agree with, you need board input on?
Let's see here. Well, yeah, the condition of approval about we had no objection to the additional condition of approval for the future construction of the driveway. I think that's probably the best place to put it. But let's see here. Nothing that really jumped out at me unless there's something particular that you saw, Kristen.
I think most of these, I think, are being proposed to be addressed as conditions of approval. I think the trail was the big outstanding one in my mind, but that again is one of the conditions to work with the snowmobile folks and see if that can be rerouted. It looks like like there is some level of commitment to reroute it and continue to allow it, which is good news. And
Yeah, I thought I saw the response from Jason that that was the case. So
Yeah.
and
we should
then
be good there, right?
yeah, if you're comfortable with having that as a condition of approval, then yes. The only
What
thing
would
I
be
think
the
I had,
I'm sorry, Kristen. What would be the proper way to meet that condition? Is to have some type of memo sent to the town, or?
I have some language in the memo regarding that condition, like an updated memo that I sent around, I think, but work with the members to mutually agreeable location on the site to be confirmed in writing with the town planner no later than December 15 of 2026. That's what I was proposing for the board's consideration as a deadline to wrap that up and figure it out where it's going to go and just bring that in. So I have it on record with the town. If the board's comfortable with that, yes, the way to go about that, I think, would be to reach out to them. You know, I'm not entirely sure who the point of contact is right now, but I can help you out with that. We can
Okay.
dig into that.
I was
together.
just about
Yep.
to ask you that
Yep.
if you have any interaction with them. Yep.
Okay.
The only other thing that was jumping out at me
Kristen.
comment-wise was the deliveries. And I know they seem to be, I haven't heard any complaints about the modular units. So I think the language that was presented was outside of business hours. I was just suggesting that it should be outside of peak travel hours, just to not clog up Portland Road, which is probably what's happening now with the modulars, I imagine will. Because we haven't heard complaints about traffic, but just clarifying that. And
Yeah, I
Make
thought that
some
was I thought that was already a condition of that approval.
of the
Of the
modular
car?
home approval, yes, yep. I was
Yeah.
just trying to clarify the language
Yeah.
here that would avoid peak hour rather than
Oh.
business hour.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a fun time to do it anyways.
Any concerns from the board on any of the staff comments that you want to cover?
No. Nothing from
Nope.
Dave.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm good.
not seeing anything then. Okay, so this is a public hearing, so I'll take the opportunity to open the hearing to the public, even though I don't see any. So just confirm, Kristen, there's no members of the public online?
No, I did not receive anything outside of this, and I don't see anyone on here either.
Okay, I'll close the public hearing then. Let's there's a couple, I guess, I didn't poll the board on vehicle circulation. Did anyone have any concerns around that? I mean, David, you already mentioned the fire truck thing. We've confirmed, and I guess Kristen, you confirmed that the chief is in agreement with the layout, correct?
Can I ask a question?
Hang on, just let Kristen answer that,
Sure.
please, first.
Yeah, it's my understanding that he did discuss that with Will. He was copied on the email regarding the response, so he, yeah, I think the multiple story, it's not a dwelling unit, and that tends to be their bigger concern for fire safety, is where people live and sleep. So I think the turning was working for him.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I think I answered my question. I'm not sure. So we have written documentation that says the fire chief is okay with the turning lanes, with the waiver to narrow that roadway.
I
So
believe
the
we have
waiver-
something.
Yeah, I discussed this with the chief when we reviewed the plans together. And I think, so there were effectively two entrances. There's the one off of Portland Road, that's the actual entrance. And then there's this new one in that darker color where you're entering the area where the RVs will be displayed. He was concerned about the width of that darker area. It was proposed earlier, I think it was like 20 feet. And as Jason mentioned earlier, they did talk that through with him, and that has been widened to meet a better standard that the chief was comfortable with. And because of the phased nature of this and the future plans for Turnpike Acres alignment, he had expressed being on board with leaving the Portland Road connection as is, And we had also left it, the board had left it as is during the 2023 review when this became a modular home sales place as well. So it's been operating as it is for some time. The waivers.
I'm talking around the darker area where he
The
has to
internal
back up,
circulation,
turn, back
right.
up and turn. So the fire chief, that's documented that the fire chief is okay with that?
He had weighed in on that with Will verbally, I believe, and that was memorialized in an email that was shared with the fire chief himself to
Right.
memorialize that conversation, and with me.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, good question. Anybody have anything else on site circulation?
Nope, none here.
Not
Okay,
here.
we've already talked about landscaping, so when we get to the waiver, we can take an action on that. Anybody have any additional comments or concerns around the snowmobile trail? I think there's a plan there, so I think it's all good.
I
Okay,
have something
not-
to, about the landscape, the money that you want to put in escrow. Can it be written in there that within 30 days of the landscape being planted and inspected by code enforcement, that the funds will be released?
I think
think
that's
so.
a
I
great
don't know.
idea.
Kristen?
You could certainly do that. The provision that's already in ordinance is that the applicant lets us know when it's done, and then we go out there and inspect it, and the money is requested to be returned at that time. We process it. If you want to put a
Right.
30-day in there, fine. It's usually quicker
Let's-
than that, but
Let's get to that detail when we actually get to the waiver, because there's been some comments, but we don't know which way we're gonna go yet. We may not even go that way. Anything on the snowmobile trail? Okay, nothing. We already covered engineering review. We can talk about the waivers when we talk about, when we actually get to discussing them, so I think they're gonna keep us moving. Which should be, the next step is, conditional that, I think it's completeness, right? Oh, conditional, we're gonna do, I thought there was no, there's not a complete. Was there a completeness on your first memo? Maybe
completeness, I think, is typically for subdivision.
yeah, okay.
You could certainly
Okay.
move that here as well if you.
No,
if you
that's
would like
fine.
to.
I read your old memo and then just recently printed the new one. I was thinking completeness was in there. So we're at conditional use. So hopefully everyone read the narrative and we heard Jason's response to the 7 conditional use criteria. So if someone has a motion to find that complete and acceptable.
Mr. Chairman, I know I'm usually the go-to for motions, but it's very hard in a tent, so I'm gonna give that honor to
right.
someone else.
All right, fair enough. Would someone like to make the motion on conditional use for us?
I would like to make a motion on the conditional use.
I think you have to read it from the memo there, Janya. There's a motion, a proposed motion in the memo.
I'm trying the papers.
Yes, sorry.
David, do you have the memo in front of you?
That's
Are you able-
yes. So conditional use draft motion.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay, move to move to find that conditional use application complete and approved to conditional use for the Loon Island LLC, represented by DM Roma Engineers for planning board review of a proposal to amend the site plan for the 35.6 plus minus acre lot at tax map 043 lot 404 dash 176,000 in the commercial and rural residential area zoning district and the shoreline zoning district of the limited commercial and resource protection. This is amendment to the 2023 site plan conditional approval for the 45 Portland Road, map 43, lot 404 dash 176 dash 001, which is to merge into lot dash 000 and is an expansion of the retail trade use with accessory storage and the garage space. The proposal is subject to the site plan amendment, major site plan and conditional use review, and to main DEP preservation area restrictions and the shoreline zoning standards.
All right, thank you, Zhenya. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Nope.
All in favor?
In favor.
One, two.
In favor.
David is 3. Zhenya. Okay, that's unanimous, all 4 of us. All right. Moving on then. Next up is the waivers. So we've got this grouped as, right now at least, as approving potentially 3 waivers. So the first one is waiving the requirement for parking, landscaping, islands, and for the gravel RV display area. Second one is the entrance access road width. Third one is placeholder for turning off overnight non-security lights. So I've got a few comments here, so I'll get started. I think I'm going to work my way back up on the third one. I don't think it's applicable. Like you've already, basically it says in the ordinance, you have to turn off non-security lighting. The applicant has stated the lighting that they intend to leave on is security only, so I don't see any reason why we even need to vote on that waiver. That's my view, but I'd like to hear either from the planning board or the applicant if there's some specific reason why you think you need that waiver.
This is Melinda. I agree that waiver doesn't need to be voted on because it doesn't apply. He's not seeking non-security lighting. So I'd rather not do a waiver if it's not needed because I like to do waivers only when they're needed and rarely.
Jason or Will, is there some specific reason why you feel like you need this waiver?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'd rather not do it then. I don't think it's necessary. I mean, it's there, so you're not having interior lights and things not related to your cutoff security lights that you've already talked about. So we're not going to vote on that one. Then moving back up the entrance width, I think we should be all good there. We've already discussed that. Jason's shown turning movements to the chief signed off on it. So I think that should be good, but I'll do a quick straw poll of the board before we actually vote on it. Anybody have any concerns around that one?
I'm in favor of that waiver. Good.
No
Okay.
concerns.
Okay, and then back up to landscaping. So I think we've all agreed there's no need for parking lot, island landscaping, and really the only question is to the board. Do we feel that what they've presented is acceptable? Or so that's one option. Second option is we can ask for something specifically more to be installed now. Or the third option that we talked about was that we reserve $5,000 or $6,000 in in a reserve fund with a timing to be determined if we decide to go that route. So what's the board's pleasure on this one?
This is Melinda. I actually think that because the landscaping they're proposing for the second phase along Turnpike Acres, the new road, is in wetland. I would be okay if they gave a couple of like some willows, something that will live to the far right side. If the development, that's all it ever is, I would rather see a couple of trees there than seeing trees in the section that would make more sense along a road. So I'd rather see a couple willows or red maple, something that will live in addition to those little lonely spruces, and not have an escrow. That's where I am right now.
Okay, David? You're on mute.
Sorry about that.
That's
So
right.
it says requirement for parking, landscaping, parking lot islands, and gravel RV display area. So we're saying that none of those apply.
Well, this would be the buffering of the display area, so it does
Okay.
apply.
Gotcha.
It's the piece I think we all definitely agree on is not needing islands in the parking area. So it's
But-
just a matter of some buffering to the public roadway. And it either
But
gets some,
the applicant asked not to because he wants people to see that from the road.
that's what they asked for, yep. And then we have a
But we can't,
requirement.
we're not complying with the ordinance because of that? If we
Well,
don't,
there's a requirement for, in the ordinance for site buffering, and it's somewhat discretionary to the board. Kristen can
Right.
probably help with the actual language.
I go by businesses all the time, but I don't see where they're plant trees, so you can't see their business.
Nobody's asking for that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not intended to block the
Kristen, can
business.
you level set everyone on what the ordinance requires?
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly pull it up if you'd like to read the exact language, but the intent is not to block the business, it's to beautify the front. So like if you go by like Hillview Mini Barns on Lewiston Road, they've got the smaller level plantings along the front with the kind of split fence or whatever. It doesn't block, you can still see the sheds, but there are plantings in the front that just kind of beautify the road frontage area. That's the intent. The ordinance also wants parking areas away from the road. So it does want to see more of the like business frontage toward the road and the parking in the rear. That sort of look. It's trying to keep you from seeing a bunch of parked cars when you drive by a business. That's more the goal. This is set back from the road a little bit of a ways, and it's an inventory rather than a customer parking area. So it's a little bit of a different animal. As Dan noted, a lot of that discretion is given to the board based on the application in front of you.
Jenya, any comments? What I don't want to
Um,
get into here is the planning board is not a landscaping design firm. We're not
Right.
gonna be designing their site.
Well, I still think that escrow will be the best idea, but I don't like the condition of 2 years.
Nobody said 2 years necessarily. I mean,
Okay.
we can make whatever is reasonable and whatever works for the applicant. If we go that route.
If we are going that way, I think 3 years will be kind of more reasonable amount of time. If we are going to set up the time.
yeah, unfortunately, the next phase of this is going to take some permitting time with primarily the DEP. It'll be probably a year of permitting. So that'll take up a chunk of that time, but yeah, understand.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it out to the board to make a motion. Somebody can make a motion and we're going to vote on it.
All right, I'll make a motion. I move to approve the following waiver for the request by Loon Island LLC, represented by DM Roman Engineers for planning board review. Lost my place. For planning review of a proposed amend to the site plan for 35.6 plus or minus acre lot at tax map 043 lot 404-176-000 in the commercial and RRA zoning districts and the shoreline zoning districts of limited commercial and resource protection. This is an amendment to a 2023 site plan conditional approval for 45 Portland Road, map 43 lot 404-176-001, which is to be merged into lot 000. It is an expansion of the retail trade use with accessory storage and garage space. The proposal is to subject to site plan amendment, major site plan and conditional use reviews, and to main DEP preservation area restrictions and the shoreline zoning standards. The 402.10.13.1 request for gravel RV display area, with a condition that there will be escrow of $6,000 that will be returned no later than 30 days after the completion of landscaping for the RV display area.
Is that your entire motion?
That is it.
Okay, so without getting, I'm gonna pause for a second so we don't get in a bunch of formalities. So you didn't mention anything about the commercial entrance road width. Was that intentional or did you?
That was intentional.
That was intentional?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second on that motion?
Can can I? Ugh, I don't want to make him read it all again. I just want
Well,
to.
that's what we're
I
gonna
think
have
we
to
need-
do. We're
Okay.
gonna have to read it all again for someone to make that other part of the motion.
I can read it again.
No, you don't need to read it. Okay.
Oh,
Is there a second or not? Okay, there's no second, so the motion fails. Does somebody else want to make a different motion? I mean, come on, people. I don't understand. This shouldn't be that difficult.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. The motion that he made did not include the time frame of 2 to 3 years, right? So that was an
Oh.
important part of the escrow. So that's why I didn't second it.
Yep, that's fine. It also didn't include the entranceway, which I thought we had aligned on, and it also didn't speak to parking, landscaping, and islands, which we need to waiver for them.
Right.
So that was why I didn't second it, because I could have.
Yeah.
So let's realign here on what we agreed to. I thought we had agreement on the entranceway that's been vetted by the fire chief. Perhaps, I'm not sure if David doesn't agree or he wanted to do it separately.
No, so I asked the question whether we're gonna waive whether we needed to waive the parking lot and the islands. And the answer was no, is what I thought I got. So
We still need to waive it. We were just on board with doing so, but we still have to grant them.
Right.
yeah,
We're
I
not
didn't understand.
requiring it to happen, and we need to waive it for it to not happen.
And you're saying that I can't make another motion?
Oh, anyone can make another motion.
All right, then I will. Let's see if I can find it again. All right, I'll
So-
make another motion.
I think before you do it, I think what people are looking for is what you did, but I would read all of the first bullet.
Yep.
Because we need to waive the parking and island landscaping. And it looks like you're going to make a motion in the escrow direction, which is fine. The board can vote on that. And then we also should include, so we don't have to go through this twice, we should also include the entrance access waiver, which I believe we all agree on. And then we've agreed to not include the third one.
Okay,
Okay,
Try-
yep, all right, let's do
try
it again
again.
and see if we get a second.
okay. We gotta get better at this.
Yep.
Move to approve the following waivers. I make a motion to move to approve the following waivers for the request by Loon Island LLC represented by DM Roman Engineers for planning board review of a proposal to amend the site plan for 35.6 plus or minus acre lot at tax map 043 lot 404-176-000 in the commercial and RRA zoning districts and shoreland zoning districts of limited commercial resource protection. This is an amendment to the 2023 site plan and conditional approval for 45 Portland Road, map 43 lot 404-176-001, which is to be merged into lot 000 and is an expansion of retail trade use with accessory storage and garage space. The proposal is subject to site plan amendment, major site plan and conditional use reviews, and to MDEP preservation area restrictions and the shoreland zoning standards. The 402.10.13.1 requirement for parking, landscaping, and parking lot islands for the gravel RV display area to be reimbursed no later than 30 days after completion and upon inspection by the town, and that it will be limited to 3 years for to be completed. The 402.10.11.B.3 commercial entrance access road width. End of motion.
All right, thank you. I'll just note that you left out the amount to be escrowed in your second reading. I didn't
Well,
hear it, so
Can I make,
if you just-
make
if you
another
just-
motion before
yeah,
we vote?
just state what the amount would be.
So the amount of escrow will be $6,000.
Yep, okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll ask if there's any discussion. And I'll start. The discussion I have, it's a little out of order here, but I want to ask the applicant if you're okay with, are you in agreement with that? Does it work for you? Because we have an opportunity to revise it if it doesn't. If it does, we'll move forward. It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion from the board? All right, let's have a vote then. All in favor?
In favor.
That's unanimous. So you have your waivers. Okay. Thank you. And I want to apologize to everyone. I sort of got short-tempered there. Didn't mean to do that. It's not always easy trying to facilitate an online meeting. So I didn't intend to lose my temper there.
I didn't even notice.
Everyone's doing a good job. Well, maybe I hit it too well, but yeah. So thank you. We're moving through this pretty well. Last then would be our motion for approval. So we also have that draft motion in the memo. Just looking ahead here. There's some placeholders. Melinda, you don't have this with you? You don't have the paper with you?
I had to go to my my car to charge
That's fine.
my
It's just, there's a lot here and
Yep. Hold on a
There's-
second. I'll go back to the tent.
that's fine. That's fine. We'll figure it out. There's just, I don't want us to get like hung up on, like, for the one problem, not really a problem, but I don't have page numbering on the new on the new memo that I printed. Not sure what page it's on because I don't want to have one of you guys read this entire page long memo. And
I
we look at-
do not have the new memo printed either. So
Okay.
I'm definitely not your person.
okay, so what I'll ask is either David or Zhenya, if you can just make a motion that references the planner's memo, just make a motion that references a move to approve the draft approval motion, and then you can just state with the conditions 1 through 9, and then the placeholders on number 5. We did not vote on the third one.
Actually, 1 through 11, just to be clear. I think
Oh.
it's misnumbered on the end. My bad.
Oh.
It does go to the next
Okay,
page.
that makes it even more straightforward. Placeholder number 6 is the snowmobile club one, so that one's okay. Placeholder number 7, we talked about that, that's okay. So Kristen, what do we need to do on 5? I guess we'll just,
I think, yeah, the only change you need to make, you can move to approve the entire motion with the conditions of approval as outlined in the planner's memo, with the exception of the third bullet point on placeholder number 5.
yeah. And do you think we need clarification on the first bullet point with because it wasn't fully it was waived with a modifier for the escrow.
Right, you could probably just say number 5 as amended by the waiver motion.
Okay. So David, you game to tackle this one?
Yeah, I think that would be the best language, probably, and including condition of approval number 5 as amended by the approved waiver motion.
So basically what you would do, David, is move to approve the draft motion as written in the planner's memo with conditions 1 through 11. And condition 5 is modified to delete the third bullet, and that the first bullet was waived as previously amended in the meeting. Something like that would work and get us through it. Or Melinda, you can do that from memory. Anyone can take it. Who's game?
It's very dark here in the woods. I can't see anymore.
All right, David or Zhenya, who wants to take it?
Well, I
Yeah,
can
you-
try. I can try if you guys will
Oh.
understand my English.
Sorry.
Beautiful. It's
I was
way better
muted
than my
again.
Russian.
Yeah, hey,
Right,
Zhenya, I think
exactly.
David was muted. I think he was attempting to bail you out. So let's
Oh,
see if
okay.
that's true.
Let's
So
give him a
So
chance.
Kristen, this memo is it the one that's updated 5/21/2026?
This is, I'm working off the memo dated
May
May 19,
May
2026.
May 19th, okay. I make a motion to approve. Oh, lost one. To approve the draft approval motion for the planning board consideration as per the planning board memo updated 5/19/2026. Our items 1 through 11, if number 5 was modified. And as the waiver for number 5, item 1 was modified in the planning board approval waiver for the meeting of 5/21/2026.
And
And a
then just a
motion.
reminder, just a reminder, the third bullet was not voted on.
Yes.
So if you could add that.
The 4.0.1012A2 requirement for turning off overnight non-security lighting on the site was not voted on because they meet the requirements per the ordinance.
Great, thank you very much. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Perfect. I'll just ask Kristen, you feel like you can capture that motion in writing and everyone understands our intent?
Yes, yeah, I think I have a clear understanding
Yeah.
of your intent and what's been passed. and-
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Clean it up.
So let's have a vote then. All in favor?
In favor.
That's unanimous. So you have your approval.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Sorry for, it's a little bit difficult trying to do this all remotely.
Oh,
Get-
yeah.
get it all right,
It brings
so.
me back a few years now.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And
good.
Melinda, if it was off by a day, I'd be doing the exact same thing you are, doing this in a tent.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my car trying to charge my phone. Teams meeting, suck up the power.
All right, so congratulations. We look forward to you guys getting started and coming back with phase 2.
Thank you very much. Everybody
Thank
have a
you.
great weekend.
We need to, before everyone signs off, we still need to adjourn. So if someone wants to make
Motion
that
to
motion,
adjourn.
is there a
I
second?
could do that one.
Second.
All in favor?
In favor.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good long weekend.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.